A black man with $10 million? You must think I'm stupid. First Heritage Bank, Philadelphia, lunch rush. Sarah Winters, branch manager, stares at the black man across from her. Worn briefcase, discount clothes. In her mind, black skin and 10 million don't match. She picks up his check, tears it down the middle, making sure he watches, then throws the pieces at his chest. Fraud, thief, get this black man out. 12 white customers watch Brandon Coleman stand silent. Nobody helps. The door opens. Her boss walks in, sees torn paper, sees Brandon. His face drains. Mr. Coleman? Sir? Everything freezes. Sarah's boss just gave respect to the man she humiliated. Why? Who is Brandon Coleman? Stay, because that one word just ended her career. In 52 minutes, 12 witnesses will watch her realize who she threw paper at and why Sir came too late. This is real. This starts now. 6:15 a.m. Brandon Coleman's alarm goes off. Same time every morning. Muscle memory from 5 years of building something from nothing. His daughter, Maya, is already awake, 9 years old, backpack half-packed on the kitchen counter. She's making toast, slightly burned, perfect anyway. Morning, baby. Morning, Daddy. Big day. Brandon pours coffee, dark roast, the kind that tastes like determination. Bank day. Maya wrinkles her nose. Boring, if she only knew. Inside Brandon's briefcase, one check, $10 million, Coleman Software Incorporated, 5 years of code written at 3 a.m., 5 years of pitches to clients who looked at him and saw risk instead of brilliance, 5 years of proving that a black man from West Philly could build something worth buying. Premier Logistics wanted it enough to write a check with 7 zeros. The acquisition closed 3 days ago. Brandon could have done a wire transfer, could have used mobile deposit, could have watched the number appear in his account from his couch. But there's something about walking into a bank, placing a check on the counter, being treated like any other customer with money they earned. His father taught him that. Gerald Coleman, machinist for 38 years, died when Brandon was 26, left him a briefcase, worn leather, cracked corners, repaired handle, and one piece of advice: don't let anyone make you small. Brandon carries that briefcase now. Inside, the check, business incorporation papers, acquisition announcement, tax returns, 2 forms of ID, bank statements showing 5 years of revenue. He shouldn't need all this, shouldn't need to prove anything beyond the check itself. But he's heard the stories. Black man, large check, wrong assumptions. He's heard them from friends, colleagues, strangers online. He's always thought, not me, my business is legitimate, my reputation is solid. Still, he brings the documents. The drive takes 18 minutes. First Heritage Bank, new branch. Opened 6 months ago in the financial district. Marble facade, glass doors, the kind of place that promises professionalism. Brandon parks, checks his watch. 12:13 p.m., lunch rush. The bank will be busy. Witnesses everywhere. Good. Witnesses matter when things go right. He doesn't know yet they'll matter more when things go wrong. Brandon walks through glass doors. The lobby smells like fresh paper and expensive cologne. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. Security camera in the corner. Time stamp. 12 hours, 16 minutes, and 34 seconds. 3 teller windows, 5 service desks. Counter 3 is open. A woman sits there, 40-something. Professional attire. Name badge, Sarah Winters. Branch manager. 16 years experience. Brandon approaches. Briefcase in hand. Check in pocket. Confidence in his posture. Good afternoon. I'd like to deposit this check. He places it on the counter. $10 million. Made out to Brandon Coleman, signed by Premier Logistics CFO, dated March 11th. Today is March 14th. Fresh, legitimate, real. Sarah Winters looks at the check. Then she looks at Brandon, and something shifts in her expression. Something subtle. Something Brandon recognizes instantly because he's seen it his entire life. The look that says, this doesn't belong to you. The look that says, people like you don't have money like this. The look that says, I know what you are. Brandon feels it in his chest, the familiar tightness, the exhaustion of having to prove yourself before you've even spoken, but he keeps his face neutral, keeps his voice calm. Is there a problem? Sarah's smile is professional. Her words are not. Can I see some identification? It begins. Brandon provides his driver's license. Pennsylvania, current address, photo matches. Expiration date 2 years out. Sarah examines it, types something into her computer. Pauses, types again. Her eyes flick between the screen and Brandon's face, comparing, doubting. Do you have another form of ID? Of course. Brandon opens his wallet. Passport, also current, also valid. Photo also matches. Sarah takes it, studies the photo longer than necessary. Holds it up next to Brandon's face. The gesture is deliberate, public. 12 customers in line behind him. All watching now. And do you have business documentation? Brandon's jaw tightens just slightly. For a deposit? Sir. The word drips condescension. This is a very large amount. We need to verify the source of funds. It's standard procedure. Standard for who? Brandon thinks, but he doesn't say it. Instead, he reaches into his briefcase. Business card, Coleman Software Inc. president and founder. Acquisition announcement from Premier Logistics. Press release dated March 11th. Sarah barely glances at them. Do you have tax returns? Bank statements? I have 5 years of bank statements, tax returns, incorporation documents. Anything else you'd like to see? Brandon's voice stays level. But there's an edge now, the edge of a man who knows exactly what's happening. Sarah's smile tightens. Just trying to protect you, sir. Fraud is very common with checks of this size. From companies like Premier Logistics? From any source? She picks up her phone, dials an extension. Security, can you come to counter 3, please? The words land like a slap. Security for a deposit, for a legitimate business transaction. Behind Brandon, someone gasps. The elderly white woman in line. She shifts uncomfortably, but she doesn't speak, doesn't intervene, just watches. Everyone watches. Security officer Thomas Mitchell approaches, 50-something, 20-year veteran badge. He doesn't draw anything, doesn't posture, just stands there. Presence as weapon. Everything okay here, Miss Winters? This gentleman has presented a check that I need to verify. Can you wait with him while I make some calls? Wait with him. Like he's a flight risk. Like he's dangerous. Like his skin is evidence of intent to defraud. Brandon reaches into his jacket pocket. Slowly, hands visible. Pulls out his phone. Places it on the counter. Screen down. Sarah notices. Sir, what are you doing? Documenting this interaction. You can't record in here without permission. Pennsylvania is a one-party consent state. I don't need your permission. Brandon's voice is ice. And I'm not leaving until this check is deposited, or until you provide me with a written explanation for the refusal. Sarah's face flushes. She's not used to being challenged, not used to people like him knowing their rights. Sir, I'm going to need you to step aside so I can serve other customers. No. The word hangs in the air. Simple, direct, final. Excuse me? I said no. I'm not stepping aside. I'm not leaving this counter. You're going to process this deposit, or you're going to explain why you're refusing a legitimate transaction. Sarah stands. Her voice rises, loud enough for the entire lobby. Sir, this check appears fraudulent. I cannot process it until I verify its authenticity. Call Premier Logistics. Here's their CFO's direct line. Brandon slides a business card across the counter. Sarah doesn't take it. Instead, she picks up the check, holds it between 2 fingers like it's contaminated, like touching it might infect her with whatever she thinks Brandon is. Where did you get this? Not earn, not receive, get. I earned it from the sale of my company. What company? Coleman Software, Logistics AI, 23 employees, 5 years in operation, 40% year-over-year revenue growth. Brandon recites the facts like a lawyer presenting evidence. Because that's what this is now. A trial. With 12 white jurors watching, Sarah's expression doesn't change. And what exactly does Coleman Software do? He just explained. But she wants him to perform, wants him to dance, wants him to prove he's worthy of being in her bank with money she's decided he can't possibly have earned. Brandon takes a breath, explains again. Supply chain optimization, routing algorithms, B2B software, clients in 6 states, revenue in the millions before the acquisition. Sarah listens, nods, doesn't believe a word. I'm going to need to call our fraud department. Then call them. I'll wait. Sarah picks up the phone, dials, turns her back to Brandon. Her voice carries across the lobby anyway, loud enough, deliberate. Yes, hi, I have a customer here with a $10 million check that seems inconsistent. Can you run a verification? Inconsistent. With what? With his face, his clothes, his skin? Sarah provides the check details, waits, listens. Her expression shifts. Something she hears bothers her. She hangs up, turns back to Brandon. Sir, I've been informed that we need additional documentation before we can process this. I'm going to have to ask you to... What documentation? I've provided everything legally required. Corporate verification, business license, proof of... I have all of that. It's in my briefcase. Do you want to see it, or do you want to keep making this about something else? Sarah's face hardens. Sir, I don't appreciate your tone. And I don't appreciate being treated like a criminal for trying to deposit money I earned. Silence. The entire lobby holding its breath. Sarah Winters makes her decision. She picks up the check, stares directly at Brandon, and tears it. Not quickly, not in frustration, deliberately, methodically, down the middle. The sound of paper ripping cuts through the silence like a gunshot. Then she tears it again. Quarters. Someone behind Brandon makes a noise. Shock, disbelief, but no one speaks. No one stops her. Sarah crumples the 4 pieces, steps around the counter, and throws them at Brandon's chest. Paper rains down onto his shoes, onto his briefcase, onto the dignity he walked in with 52 minutes ago. This check is fraudulent, Sarah's voice echoes. And you, sir, are attempting to commit fraud. Security, escort this man out of my bank. I'm calling the police. Brandon doesn't move, doesn't bend down to pick up the pieces, just stands there. 12 white customers staring, security officer shifting uncomfortably, Sarah Winters smiling with satisfaction. This is the moment Brandon Coleman has to decide. Stay silent, let her win, walk away, or... He bends down, picks up the 4 pieces of his check, his future, his 5 years, his proof that he built something, places them carefully in an envelope from his briefcase. Looks at Sarah Winters, his voice quiet, deadly calm. What is your full name? Sarah Winters, branch manager, and you need to leave before I have you arrested. Thank you, Miss Winters. Brandon picks up his phone, takes a photo of her name badge, of the torn check pieces, of the security camera timestamp. Evidence. Then the door opens. James Anderson walks through the glass doors at 12:52 p.m. Regional Vice President, 51 years old, tailored suit, confidence that comes from 25 years in banking. He's not supposed to be here. Had a lunch meeting 3 blocks away, decided to stop by the new branch, check in, see how Sarah's handling the lunch rush. He walks into chaos. 12 customers frozen in line, security officer standing awkwardly by counter 3, a black man with a briefcase and a phone, papers scattered on the floor, and Sarah Winters, his branch manager, red-faced and pointing. I said get out before I call the police. Anderson's instinct. Support his manager. Trust her judgment. She's been with the bank 16 years. She knows protocol. But something makes him pause. The man at counter 3. Something familiar about his posture. The way he's standing, not aggressive, not defensive, just present, like he belongs exactly where he is. Anderson steps closer, sees the man's face. Recognition hits like cold water. Oh no, oh God, no. Mr. Coleman? The lobby freezes. Sarah's pointing finger drops. The security officer turns. The 12 customers lean forward. Brandon Coleman turns slowly, looks at James Anderson. No surprise on his face, just cold, measured assessment. Mr. Anderson. They know each other. Sarah's brain scrambles to process this. How do they know each other? Why is the regional VP using Mr.? Why does his voice sound like that? Nervous, almost panicked. Anderson's eyes drop to the floor. Paper pieces. He bends down, picks one up. It's a quarter of a check. He can make out Lion Dollars, Brandon Cole, Ramir Logis. His blood goes cold. What? His voice cracks. He clears his throat. Tries again. What happened here? Sarah rushes to explain. Sir, this man attempted to deposit a fraudulent check. $10 million. Obviously fake. I refused the transaction and called security. He became aggressive, started recording without permission, refused to leave the premises. Stop. Anderson's voice cuts through her justification like a blade. Stop talking. Sarah blinks. She's never heard him use that tone. Not with her. Not with anyone. Anderson looks at Brandon. Really looks at him. Sees the phone on the counter. Sees the composed fury in Brandon's posture. Sees exactly what just happened here. Mr. Coleman. Anderson's voice is careful now. Respectful. Terrified. Sir, could we please speak in my office? Sir. The word detonates in the lobby. Sarah's face drains of color. The customers exchange glances. The security officer takes a step back. Sir, not this gentleman, not sir in the dismissive way Sarah kept using it. Sir with weight, with respect, with recognition of status. Brandon doesn't move. Your branch manager just destroyed my property, accused me of fraud, called security, threatened to have me arrested, and now you want to talk in private? Mr. Coleman, please, I can explain. Explain what? Brandon's voice is still quiet, still controlled, but there's steel underneath. Explain why your manager assumed a $10 million check couldn't possibly belong to a black man? Explain why she didn't make a single phone call to verify it before tearing it up. Explain why I had to provide 3 forms of ID while the white woman behind me provided one. The white woman behind him, elderly, well-dressed, nods. She did provide only one ID. She noticed. Anderson's face is white now, bloodless. He knows what this is, what this looks like, what this will cost. Sir, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. There's been no misunderstanding. Brandon picks up the envelope with the torn check pieces. Your manager understood perfectly. She saw a black man with money and decided I didn't deserve respect, didn't deserve basic customer service, didn't deserve the benefit of doubt that you give to every white customer who walks through that door. Sarah tries to speak. I was following protocol. What protocol? Anderson spins on her. What protocol tells you to destroy a customer's check before verification? What protocol tells you to call security for a deposit? What protocol? He stops, forces calm, turns back to Brandon. Mr. Coleman, sir, please, give me a chance to make this right. Brandon looks at him, at Sarah, at the 12 customers, at the security officer who didn't stop any of this, at the pieces of his check in an envelope. You can't make this right, but you can start by getting her away from me. Anderson doesn't hesitate. Miss Winters, my office now. Sarah opens her mouth to protest. Anderson's look silences her. She walks toward the back, stiff, humiliated, still not understanding. Anderson turns back to Brandon. Sir, I apologize. Profoundly. Completely. This should never have happened. I know you. I know your company. We met last year at the FinTech conference. I pitched you banking services. You were professional enough not to mention that our bank just treated you like a criminal. Brandon remembers. Anderson gave a good pitch, talked about relationship banking, personalized service, understanding the unique needs of tech entrepreneurs. Ironic. Your pitch was very convincing, Brandon says. You talked about respect, about seeing customers as partners, about understanding that success looks different for different people. Anderson closes his eyes. I meant every word. Did your branch manager get that memo? Silence. Mr. Coleman, sir, please, can we discuss this privately? I will replace the check immediately. I will personally apologize. I will do whatever it takes. To keep me quiet? Anderson stops. To make amends. Amends. Brandon tastes the word. Your bank just publicly humiliated me, destroyed my property, accused me of fraud, traumatized 12 witnesses, all because your manager took one look at me and decided I was a criminal, and you want to make amends. In private, where no one can hear, where I sign something and go away. That's exactly what this is. Brandon picks up his phone, stops the recording. 52 minutes and 18 seconds. I'm leaving. I'll deposit this check at a different bank. One that treats me like a human being. Mr. Coleman, please. At least let me replace the check. You can't replace it. It was issued by Premier Logistics. You don't have authority to reissue their check. What you're offering is your bank's check, which means your bank takes ownership of Premier Logistics' debt to me. Which means you're trying to make this your transaction instead of theirs, which means you're trying to control the narrative. Anderson stares. This is not a man he can patronize. This is not a man who doesn't understand banking. Brandon continues. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to contact Premier Logistics. They'll reissue the check. I'll deposit it somewhere else. And then I'm going to decide what to do about this. He gestures at the lobby, at the scattered paper, at Sarah Winters visible through the office glass, pacing. What do you mean? Brandon looks at Anderson, really looks at him. Sir, he uses the word deliberately now, mockingly. Do you think this is the first time your branch manager has done this? Do you think I'm the first black customer she's treated like a criminal? Anderson's silence is answer enough. That's what I thought. Brandon walks toward the door, stops, turns back. One more thing. The elderly woman behind me, she saw everything. Get her name. Get her statement. Because if you try to claim this was anything other than what it was, she's my witness. The elderly woman, Helen Davis, steps forward. My name is Helen Davis. I'm customer number 8,832, 4,491. I've banked here for 30 years, and I saw everything. That young man did nothing wrong. Your manager profiled him, simple as that. She writes her phone number on a deposit slip, hands it to Brandon. If you need a witness, call me. Brandon takes it, nods, thanks her, walks out the door. Anderson stands in the lobby, paper pieces on the floor, 12 customers staring, Helen Davis looking at him with disappointment, and through the office window, Sarah Winters waiting for him to fix this. He can't fix this. The word sir came 52 minutes too late, and James Anderson knows exactly what comes next. Lawyers, media, investigation, everything he spent 25 years building, threatened by one branch manager's assumptions and his own 45-second delay in recognizing a customer. He bends down, picks up the pieces of the check. $10 million in 4 pieces. The most expensive mistake his bank has ever made. Brandon sits in his car for 15 minutes. Hands on steering wheel, not shaking from fear, shaking from rage. The recording sits in his phone. 52 minutes, every word, every assumption, every moment of humiliation. He could delete it, could call Premier Logistics, get the check reissued, move banks, move on, could teach his daughter that staying silent is safer than speaking up. Or, his phone rings, unknown number. He ignores it. Text message follows. Mr. Coleman, this is James Anderson. Please call me. I need to make this right. Brandon deletes it. Second call, same number. This time he answers, says nothing. Mr. Coleman, it's James Anderson. Please don't hang up. Why are you calling me? Because... Anderson's voice is strained. Because I owe you an explanation, an apology, a chance to fix this before it becomes... Before you make a decision you might regret. A decision I might regret? Like calling a lawyer? Like going to the press? Like telling people what your bank does to customers who don't look like money? Mr. Coleman, please, I know you're angry. You have no idea what I am. Silence on the line. Brandon continues. Here's what I know, Mr. Anderson. Your branch manager didn't just wake up this morning and decide to destroy a black man's check. This is learned behavior. This is institutional. This is protocol dressed up as protection. It's not protocol. Sarah acted alone. Did she? Because from where I'm standing, your bank just taught me exactly what I'm worth to you. Nothing. Less than nothing. A threat to be removed. That's not true. Then prove it. Anderson pauses. What do you mean? I want Sarah Winters' employment file. Every customer complaint, every performance review, every incident report. I want to know if this is her first time or if I'm just the first person who didn't stay quiet. I can't give you personnel files. That's confidential. Then I'll get them through discovery. The word lands. Discovery. Legal term. Anderson's worst fear confirmed. Mr. Coleman, sir, please, let's meet. Face to face. Give me a chance to explain what happened, to show you we're taking this seriously. Brandon almost laughs. You want me to come back? To that bank? To that lobby where your manager called me a criminal? My office. Private. Just us. Or neutral ground. Coffee shop. Your choice. Please. Brandon thinks about it. Weighs options. The recording is leverage. But leverage only works if the other side knows what you have, knows what you're willing to do with it. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., coffee shop on Market Street. You know the one? Yes, I'll be there. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Thank you for... Brandon hangs up. He drives home. Maya's at a friend's house. The apartment is empty, quiet. He sits at his desk, opens his laptop, searches. Banking discrimination, Philadelphia. Results flood the screen. Articles, lawsuits, settlements, pattern after pattern of black customers denied service, questioned excessively, treated as suspects. He searches. First Heritage Bank complaints. Fewer results. The bank is good at keeping things quiet. But there's a thread on Reddit. Anonymous post from 2 years ago. Has anyone else had problems with First Heritage Bank in Philly? Manager assumed my check was fake. Made me provide tax returns for a $5K deposit. I'm black. My white friend deposited $10K same day, only showed driver's license. Replies, 14 people. Similar stories, different branches, different managers, same pattern. Brandon screenshots everything, creates a folder, starts building a file. His phone buzzes. Email from Jordan Hayes, the civil rights attorney he met at a conference. They've stayed in touch. Professional network, mutual respect. Hey, Brandon, saw your LinkedIn was active late at night. Everything okay? Brandon stares at the email. Jordan Hayes, 12 years experience. Specializes in discrimination cases, employment, housing, public accommodations. He types, "Need to talk. Are you available?" Response comes in 30 seconds. "Call me now." Brandon calls. Jordan Hayes. "Jordan, it's Brandon Coleman. I need an attorney." "What happened?" Brandon tells him. Every detail. The questions, the security, the torn check, the "sir" that came too late, the 52-minute recording. Silence on the line, then, "You have the recording?" "Yes." "And witnesses?" 12 customers. One offered her contact information. "Send me everything. I'm taking this case. No fee until we win. I don't want money. I want accountability." "Brandon, you might get both. But I need to be clear. If we do this, we do it publicly. We file complaints. We demand investigations. We make noise. Because quiet complaints get quiet settlements and nothing changes. I know. Are you prepared for that? For your name in the news? For your company connected to a discrimination lawsuit? For people taking sides?" Brandon thinks about Maya, about his business, about the cost of being loud. Then he thinks about the 12 white customers who watched and said nothing. About Sarah Winters smiling while she threw paper at him. About the next black person who walks into that bank. "I'm prepared?" "Good. I'll draft a complaint. We'll file with the State Banking Commission. Might also go federal. This could be Civil Rights Act violation. I'll need your recording, the witness contact, and a detailed timeline. You'll have it tonight. One more thing. The bank's going to offer to settle, privately, quickly, generously. They're going to promise change and ask for your silence." "I know. And? I'm not interested in silence." Jordan's voice carries approval. "Then let's make some noise." They hang up. Brandon sends the files, the recording, Helen Davis's contact information, timeline, photos, everything. Then he does something he wasn't planning to do. He posts on LinkedIn. Professional network, thousands of connections, clients, partners, investors. The post is simple. "Today, I walked into a bank with a $10 million check from the sale of my company. I walked out with torn paper and a reminder that success doesn't erase assumptions. I'm sharing this because silence protects systems, and I'm done protecting systems that don't protect us." He doesn't mention the bank name, doesn't post the recording, just the truth. Simple, clear. He hits post. Within an hour, 200 comments, 500 shares, people he hasn't talked to in years reaching out. "This happened to me too. Thank you for speaking up. Let me know if you need support." 3 journalists send messages, local news, Philadelphia Chronicle, NPR. Brandon responds to one. Elena Martinez, Philadelphia Chronicle, investigative reporter. Her profile shows 2 years covering financial discrimination. "I'd like to hear your story, off the record first if you prefer." They meet the next day. Coffee shop, neutral ground. Elena brings credentials. Portfolio of investigations, 3 banks, 2 mortgage companies, all held accountable. "I'm not here to sensationalize," Elena says. "I'm here to document." Brandon shows her the recording, the torn check pieces, Helen Davis's contact information. Elena listens, takes notes, asks questions, no judgment, no performance, just documentation. "This isn't just about you," she says finally. "I know. You realize if we publish this, other people will come forward. People who had the same experience but stayed quiet. This could become much bigger than one torn check." "Good." Elena studies him. "You're sure? Because once this is public, there's no taking it back. The bank will fight. They'll hire PR firms. They'll try to discredit you. They'll make this about anything except what it actually is. Let them try. Okay, I'll need to verify everything, talk to witnesses, get bank's response. This might take a week. Take the time you need. They part ways. Brandon goes to his meeting with James Anderson. Market Street Coffee Shop, 10 a.m. Anderson is already there. Arrived early, ordered coffee, rehearsed what he's going to say. Brandon sits down, says nothing. Anderson starts. "Mr. Coleman, thank you for coming. I know yesterday was... I can't imagine how you felt. How you feel now. I want you to know we're taking this extremely seriously." "Are you?" "Yes. Sarah Winters has been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. We're reviewing the incident. We're implementing additional training. We're committed to ensuring nothing like this happens again." "What investigation?" Anderson blinks. "I'm sorry? You said you're investigating. What are you investigating? Whether your manager tore up my check? I have video. 12 witnesses. What's there to investigate?" We need to understand what led to her decision. What led to her decision was my skin color. Mr. Coleman, Brandon, if we're going to talk about my humiliation, use my first name. Anderson swallows. Brandon, I don't believe Sarah is racist. I think she made a bad judgment call. I think she was overly cautious. You think that makes it better? That she humiliated me out of caution instead of hate? Do you know how many times I've heard that? I'm not racist, I'm just careful. I'm not racist, I just have standards. I'm not racist, I just know fraud when I see it. I'm not making excuses? Yes, you are. That's exactly what you're doing. You're making this about her intentions instead of my experience. You're making this about protecting her instead of accountability. Anderson is silent. Brandon continues. Here's what I want to know. How many complaints has Sarah Winters received, from black customers specifically? I can't share personnel information. Then I'll find out another way. Discovery, public records, freedom of information requests. I have an attorney. He specializes in this. Anderson's face pales. Brandon, please, let's not make this adversarial. Let me fix this. We'll compensate you for your trouble. We'll ensure Sarah receives appropriate discipline. We'll implement oversight. Whatever you need. Whatever I needed basic respect. I needed your branch manager to spend 30 seconds calling Premier Logistics instead of 10 minutes destroying my dignity. I needed the word sir before the damage, not after. That word again, sir. It sits between them like evidence. I'm sorry, Anderson says, and for the first time he sounds like he means it. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry it took me 45 seconds to recognize you. I'm sorry that 45 seconds cost you something I can't give back. Brandon looks at him, sees genuine regret, also sees calculation. Anderson knows a lawsuit is coming, knows bad press is coming, knows this conversation is his last chance to contain it. Your apology doesn't change anything, but I appreciate it. Brandon stands. I'll be filing a formal complaint with the State Banking Commission. I'll be sharing my story publicly, and if other victims come forward, and they will, I'll support them too. Brandon, wait, please. What if we settle this, privately, generously? You name the amount. We make this right without accountability, without change, without anyone knowing your bank trains managers to profile customers. We don't train them to... Then how did Sarah learn it? Silence. Brandon walks toward the door, stops, turns back. You called me sir yesterday, after your branch manager threw my check at my chest, after she called me a criminal, after she humiliated me in front of 12 people. You called me sir when it was too late to matter. Anderson says nothing. Next time, with the next black customer who walks into your bank, maybe say it sooner. Brandon leaves. Behind him, James Anderson sits with cold coffee and the knowledge that sir will haunt him for the rest of his career. April 8th. Elena Martinez's article goes live. Philadelphia Chronicle, front page digital. Banking while black. One torn check, 52 minutes of audio, and a question about who deserves respect. The article includes Brandon's story, Helen Davis's witness statement, excerpts from the recording, not the full 52 minutes, but enough. Sarah Winters' voice. You probably can't afford lunch. The sound of paper tearing. Brandon's calm response. What is your full name? And the moment. The door opening. James Anderson's voice. Mr. Coleman, sir. Elena's analysis is surgical. The word sir arrived at minute 52. The humiliation began at minute 1. The question is, why did respect take 51 minutes to recognize? By noon, 400,000 views. By evening, 1.2 million. Comment section becomes testimony. Real people, real stories. Same bank, same pattern. First Heritage, 2019. They made me provide 3 pay stubs for a $2,000 deposit. I'm black. White customer ahead of me showed driver's license only. Sarah Winters personally denied my small business loan, called my business plan unrealistic. I'm a doctor. The loan was for $50K. I had $200K in assets. Different branch, same experience. Made me sit for 40 minutes while they verified my employment. I'm an engineer at Boeing. The pattern is undeniable. 17 people share contact information publicly, want to be witnesses, want their stories heard. Jordan Hayes files formal complaint with Pennsylvania State Banking Commission, case number DOB 2024-1563. Complainant, Brandon Coleman. Nature, discrimination based on race. Destruction of property, violation of customer rights under federal banking law. The Commission opens investigation. Issues statement. All financial institutions in Pennsylvania are subject to fair lending and fair service laws. This complaint will be investigated thoroughly. First Heritage Bank responds. Corporate PR statement. We take these allegations extremely seriously. Ms. Winters has been suspended pending internal review. We are committed to diversity, inclusion, and respectful service for all customers. The statement is careful. Doesn't admit wrongdoing, doesn't apologize to Brandon, doesn't address pattern, comments under their statement. Too little too late. She was suspended after you got caught. What about the 17 other complaints? Brandon's LinkedIn post has 50,000 shares now. People he's never met expressing support. Business leaders pledging solidarity. 3 speaking invitations. 5 podcast requests. He declines most, accepts one. NPR's All Things Considered. The interview is 15 minutes. Brandon's voice is measured, calm, no anger, just facts. Host: What did you feel when she tore up your check? Brandon: I felt what I've felt my entire life, the exhaustion of having to prove I belong in spaces where my skin color raises questions before my credentials answer them. Host: And when Mr. Anderson said, "Sir?" Brandon pauses. I felt like he was apologizing to the wrong version of me. He was saying "sir" to the successful entrepreneur he recognized, but he should have been saying it to the black man his employee just humiliated, because respect shouldn't require recognition. It should be default. The clip goes viral. The phrase "respect shouldn't require recognition" becomes a hashtag. April 10th. Brandon's phone rings. Unknown number. He's learned to answer these now. Mr. Coleman? This is Anthony Richardson. I was a customer at First Heritage in 2018. Sarah Winters denied my loan application. I complained. They paid me to stay quiet. I signed an NDA, but I'm ready to break it if it helps you. Brandon remembers the Reddit thread. Anthony's story was there. Anonymous then, named now. Anthony Richardson, breaking an NDA has consequences. I know, but watching your interview, seeing you stand up, I realized my silence protected them, and I'm done protecting people who hurt us. Send me your contact information. My attorney will reach out. And Anthony Richardson, thank you. No, man, thank you for not staying quiet. They multiply. By April 15th, 23 people have contacted Jordan Hayes. Different years, different branches, different employees. Same pattern. Not all involve Sarah Winters, but all involve assumptions, excessive verification, hostile service, denial of basic respect. The State Banking Commission expands investigation scope. No longer just Brandon's complaint, now institutional review. All First Heritage branches in Pennsylvania. 6 years of complaints, pattern analysis, timeline, 90 days for preliminary findings. First Heritage Bank's stock drops 8%. Not catastrophic, but enough. Board members start asking questions. Investors want answers. April 20th. Something unexpected. Philadelphia business community mobilizes. Philly Leaders for Accountability, 23 CEOs, open letter supporting Brandon. The letter pledges review discrimination procedures in their own companies, commit to transparency, hold institutions accountable, action behind words. 15 million in combined deposits pulled from First Heritage, not permanent. A statement. Brandon didn't ask for this, didn't expect strangers to weaponize their capital for his dignity. But here it is, solidarity in spreadsheets. April 22nd, rally outside First Heritage headquarters. 200 people. Organized by local civil rights groups. Brandon attends, brings Maya. She's nervous. Daddy, why are all these people here? Because they think fairness matters. Does it? Brandon looks at the crowd, sees faces he doesn't know defending a principle that costs them nothing but means everything to him. It's starting to. Speakers share stories, other victims, other banks, other moments when Sir came too late or never came at all. Helen Davis speaks, the elderly white woman from the bank. She's 86 years old, been a customer for 30 years, closing her accounts. I stayed silent in that lobby. I watched that young man get treated like a criminal, and I said nothing until it was over. I'm ashamed, and I'm not staying silent anymore. Applause. Not for her specifically, for the acknowledgement, for the complicity named. Brandon watches, thinks about James Anderson, about the word sir, about how respect given late is just regret wearing a costume. His phone buzzes. Text from Anderson. Can we please talk? This has gotten out of hand. Brandon doesn't respond. Because it hasn't gotten out of hand. It's gotten into the right hands. Public hands. Accountable hands. For the first time since March 14th, Brandon Coleman sleeps through the night. May 3rd. Anonymous email to Elena Martinez. Subject: You need to see this. Attachment: PDF, 52 pages. Customer Risk Assessment Protocol version 3.2, Internal Training Manual, dated March 2022, marked confidential. Elena opens it, starts reading. By page 10, she's calling Brandon. You need to see this. They meet. Coffee shop. Same one where Brandon met Anderson. Different outcome. Elena slides her laptop across the table. Someone inside the bank sent this. Whistleblower. Won't identify themselves yet. But look at section 2. Brandon reads. Enhanced due diligence triggers. The list includes deposits exceeding $50,000 from non-established customers, transactions from high-risk zip codes. Appendix C lists the zip codes. Brandon recognizes them. West Philadelphia, North Philadelphia, predominantly Black and Latino neighborhoods, not explicitly racial, functionally racial. Section 3. Unlikely customer profiles, defined as deposits or transactions that seem inconsistent with customer presentation. Customer presentation, undefined, discretionary, code. They trained her, Brandon says quietly. Sarah Winters didn't invent her suspicions. She was taught them. Elena nods. And there's more. Look at the performance metrics. Another document. Branch Manager Evaluations. Sarah Winters Q4 2023 exceeds expectations. Key strength. Proactive fraud prevention. Identified 12 high-risk situations. Bonus tied to this metric. $8,500. Brandon cross-references dates. Those 12 high-risk situations align with complaint dates. 11 complaints from customers of color. Sarah Winters was rewarded for discrimination, paid to make assumptions. This isn't about one branch manager, Elena says. This is policy. Does Jordan know? I'm sending it to him now. Jordan Hayes receives the documents, calls Brandon within an hour. This changes everything. We're not just suing for individual discrimination. This is systemic, institutional. This goes to the board level. Can we prove board knowledge? Working on it. But this training manual? Someone approved it. Someone budgeted the bonuses. Someone decided customer presentation was acceptable criteria. That's not Sarah Winters. That's corporate. May 4th. Elena publishes follow-up investigation. Leaked documents show discrimination training at First Heritage Bank. The article includes excerpts from the manual, analysis of the zip code list, Sarah Winters' performance review, connection between bonuses and complaints. Conclusion: First Heritage Bank didn't have a rogue employee problem. They had a policy problem disguised as fraud prevention. Reaction is immediate. Banking industry trade groups distance themselves. Pennsylvania governor calls for comprehensive investigation and accountability. Federal banking regulators announce review. First Heritage stock drops 14%. Largest single-day decline in company history. May 6th. Bank's response. CEO Richard Morrison holds press conference. Prepared statement. We are shocked and dismayed by these allegations. The training materials in question were implemented by a former regional director without proper board oversight. They do not reflect our values. We have immediately suspended the program and launched a comprehensive review. Reporter asks, if the board didn't approve the training, who did? Morrison. We're investigating the approval chain. Reporter. The training manual is dated 2022. It's been in use for 2 years. Are you saying the board didn't know? Morrison. We're reviewing all materials and processes. Reporter. What about the performance bonuses tied to discrimination complaints? Morrison. I can't comment on personnel matters. Reporter. Mr. Coleman stated that Regional VP James Anderson called him sir only after recognizing him. Does your bank train employees to show respect only to customers they recognize? Morrison. Silence. Then, of course not. Mr. Anderson's response was appropriate once he understood the situation. Reporter. So the situation required understanding before respect? The exchange goes viral. Morrison's inability to answer becomes the story. The clip. The situation required understanding before respect. Proof. The bank doesn't see the problem. Respect is earned by recognition, not given by default. May 8th. 23 victims becomes 31. 8 more employees come forward. We were trained this way. We thought it was protocol. One former employee, Terry Wilson, compliance officer for 15 years, provides additional documents. Email chains, settlement agreements, statistical analysis showing 89% of discrimination complaints came from customers of color, despite them representing only 34% of customer base. Terry Wilson's statement, "I tried to raise concerns internally. I was told settlements were cheaper than changing culture. I resigned in 2023, should have resigned sooner." Jordan Hayes files amended complaint. No longer individual case. Now, class action, pattern and practice discrimination, Civil Rights Act violation, requests, institutional reform, third-party oversight, public disclosure of all settlements since 2018, damages, uncapped. State Banking Commission announces public hearing May 14th, live streamed. All parties required to testify under oath. Brandon will testify. Sarah Winters will testify. James Anderson will testify. CEO Richard Morrison will testify. And the country will watch. May 10th, Brandon receives letter. Law firm Morrison and Blake. On behalf of First Heritage Bank, settlement offer, confidential generous terms, $2.5 million, NDA, withdrawal of all complaints, agreement not to disparage the bank or its employees. Brandon shows Jordan. "They're scared," Jordan says. "They know the hearing will destroy them. They're hoping money buys your silence." "What do you think?" "I think $2.5 million is life-changing money. I think it's your decision. I think no one would blame you for taking it." Brandon looks at the letter, at the number, at the word confidential, thinks about Maya's college fund, about retirement, about security, thinks about the 31 other victims, about the word "sir" arriving too late, about training manuals teaching people to judge him by his skin. "No," Jordan smiles. "Good. Because we're about to win a lot more than money." May 14th, Pennsylvania State Banking Commission, room 402, every seat filled. Overflow watching live stream, 48,000 viewers at start. Commissioner Patricia Williams presiding. Stern, fair. 20 years on the commission, seen everything. This is different. 9 a.m. Hearing begins. Commissioner Williams. "We're here to investigate complaints of discriminatory practices at First Heritage Bank. This is a fact-finding hearing. Testimony will be under oath. Recordings are permitted." 9:30. Sarah Winters called, sworn in. Her attorney, expensive, from Morrison and Blake, sits beside her. Jordan Hayes conducts examination. "Miss Winters, on March 14th, you refused to process a deposit from Brandon Coleman. Why?" "The amount seemed inconsistent with the customers with standard deposits." "Inconsistent with what?" "The check was very large. We have protocols for verification." "Did you call Premier Logistics to verify?" I attempted to verify through our fraud department." "Did you call the company whose name was on the check?" Silence. "Miss Winters, yes or no?" "Did you call Premier Logistics before destroying Mr. Coleman's check?" "No." "How many forms of identification did you request from Mr. Coleman?" 3. "Is that standard?" "For large deposits, yes." "How many forms of ID do you typically request from customers depositing large amounts?" "It depends on the situation." Jordan introduces evidence. Video footage from bank cameras, dated March 14th, timestamp showing 3 white customers depositing amounts between $75,000 and $120,000. Each provided one ID. "Miss Winters, these customers deposited more than Mr. Coleman. They provided one ID. He provided 3, and you still refused. Why?" "Each situation is different." "What was different about Mr. Coleman's situation?" Sarah's attorney objects. "Relevance." Commissioner Williams. She may answer. Sarah. "The check seemed fraudulent." "Based on what evidence?" "Based on my training and experience." Jordan introduces training manual. "Have you seen this document before?" "Yes." "Did you receive this training?" "Yes." Page 23, unlikely customer profiles. What does that mean? Customers whose transactions seem inconsistent with their presentation. And Mr. Coleman's presentation was inconsistent because... Silence. The answer is in that silence. 11 a.m. James Anderson testifies. Sworn in, nervous. "Mr. Anderson, you arrived at the branch at approximately 12:52 p.m. What did you observe?" "I saw Mr. Coleman at the counter. I saw paper on the floor. Miss Winters appeared upset." "When did you recognize Mr. Coleman?" "Almost immediately." "What did you say?" "I said, Mr. Coleman." "And then?" Anderson hesitates. "I said, sir." "Why did you use that word?" "It's respectful." "Did Miss Winters use that word?" She may have, I don't recall. Jordan plays audio recording. Sarah's voice. Sir, this check is fraudulent. Sir, you need to leave. Mr. Anderson, miss. Winners use sir as dismissal. You used it as respect. What changed between her usage and yours? I recognize Mr. Coleman. So respect came with recognition? No, Mr. Anderson, simple question. If you hadn't recognized Mr. Coleman, would you have called him sir with respect? Silence. Then quietly. I don't know. That's the problem, isn't it? Respect shouldn't require recognition. The phrase lands. The room is silent. 1 p.m., Brandon testifies. He requested to go last. Wants the final word. Sworn in, calm, prepared. Jordan asks basic questions, timeline, facts. Then, Mr. Coleman, when Regional VP Anderson said, sir, what did you feel? Brandon looks directly at Commissioner Williams, at the live stream camera, at the 73,000 people now watching. I felt like respect was being given to the version of me he recognized, the CEO, the successful entrepreneur, but respect wasn't given to the version of me that walked in 52 minutes earlier. The black man with a check. That version didn't deserve sir until he was recognized. And that's the problem. Dignity shouldn't require credentials. Respect shouldn't require recognition. The word sir should have been there from the beginning. Not as apology, but as default. Silence. Even the live stream chat stops scrolling. Commissioner Williams speaks. Mr. Coleman, what outcome are you seeking? I want the training manual destroyed. I want independent oversight. I want every complaint from the past 6 years reviewed and victims compensated. I want transparent reporting. And I want assurance that the next black person who walks into First Heritage Bank gets respect before recognition. 4 p.m. Commissioner Williams issues preliminary findings. Based on testimony and evidence presented, this commission finds probable cause that First Heritage Bank engaged in systematic discriminatory practices. Training materials contain coded language that disproportionately targets customers of color. Performance incentives reward behavior that discriminates. Management failed to implement adequate oversight. Remedies pending final order, $4.3 million fine. Mandatory third-party monitor for 3 years, public disclosure of all settlements, individual liability recommendations, Miss Winters terminated and barred from banking. Mr. Anderson, formal reprimand and mandatory retraining, CEO Morrison, personal fine and oversight requirement. The room erupts, applause, quickly silenced by Commissioner Williams. Final order in 3 weeks, June 3rd, final order issued, everything Commissioner Williams promised, plus First Heritage must establish $5 million fund for victim compensation, must implement transparent complaint process, must report demographics annually. Brandon receives settlement, $850,000, not the $2.5 million they offered, but earned through accountability, not purchased silence. He donates $200,000 to Civil Rights Legal Fund, creates scholarship at Temple University. The Gerald Coleman Scholarship for students who refuse to be made small. September. Brandon walks into PNC Bank. Different institution. Routine deposit. $750,000. New contract. Teller. Good morning, sir. How can I help you? Sir, from the beginning. Before credentials. Before recognition. The way it should have been. Brandon deposits the check. No extra IDs, no questions, no assumptions, just service. Respectful, professional, default. He drives home. Thinks about March 14th, about torn paper, about 52 minutes, about the word sir arriving too late to save anyone. Maya asks, Daddy, was it worth it? The fight? Yeah. Brandon thinks about the 31 other victims who found justice, about the training manual destroyed, about the next black person who walks into a bank and gets respect before recognition. Yes, baby, it was worth it. Because dignity shouldn't need proof. Respect shouldn't need recognition. And the word sir? It should come at minute 1, not minute 52. If this story moved you, if you believe respect should be default, not earned, share it. Not for views. For the person who needs to know your dignity matters from the moment you walk in. Hit like if you believe sir should never come too late. Subscribe because these stories need telling. And comment, has this happened to you? Let's make respect the default, not the exception.